Yeah, so as you guys can see, the map is basically filled out, complete, finally. Not 100%, but it actually looks like a city now instead of a ghost town with, you know,
Yeah, it's
gray
looking
blocks.
really, really good.
Yeah, it looks like dense,
Yep.
it looks pretty cool.
It's come like such a long way. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, especially in the last, since the last update. That's basically all I focused on was the map. And the other guys have been working hard. Karlo's been redoing our character system. Before we had, I'll show you, we had like hundreds of prefabs for each character and each uniform option for that character and each position, and it was nightmare. So now we're simplifying it so it's one prefab, I believe, and
Yeah,
you can just
it's
change
just gonna
the,
use everything, like all of these, but it will just take the graphics and dump the functionality. But if it breaks somewhere, we can always switch back.
yeah, exactly.
So have the time to test it.
Yeah. Alright, so let me see, we've got what, 45, 69 people. Alright, I'll go ahead and introduce the developers. Let me see. It's 0.5 because our last update was 0.4.5, and this is like a major update, so we feel like we went from 0.5 to, or from 0.4.5 to 0.5 in this next update. We did a lot. I can't give a release date yet because I'm not sure, because there's still some things we need to incorporate, like asset streaming and stuff, and that includes better loading times, better loading screen that actually reflects the loading process, and a lot better performance. Donut's been working on asset streaming and asset bundles. If you want to explain a little bit what that does.
Yeah, okay, sure. So pretty much before when you started the game, we would have every single asset in the game loaded at runtime, and that would block the main thread of the game. So everything would freeze until everything would load up. What I did was to take all those assets and move them into bundles, and once you start the game, it will only load what you need to actually start playing the game, and then progressively it will load and unload from memory, from the disk, what you need. So it will use a lot less RAM, and it will have better runtime performance overall and loading time.
There you go. Alright, so Tate, you want to explain a little bit of what you've been doing the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. Really just getting a feel for how things have been working. This is my first 2 weeks, and just getting a feel for the game, the community, and really liking what I see. And when I played the game for the first time, I had kind of a priority list of the things that I'd like to work on, and for example, the input system. I really see a big opportunity here for controllers and steering wheels, and being able to customize that any way you see fit. So one of the things that you can expect in this update is completely configurable controls. So that means you'll be able to use an Xbox controller, PlayStation controller, steering wheel, just about anything that you have, and you can customize all the horns and sirens and everything exactly how you need. So that's a really big improvement, and I think you guys are really going to like that. I think that's probably one of the main things that I've been working on, as well as a couple small improvements you'll see. I added a new main menu, a lot easier to use now. The text is a lot easier to read. The buttons work. So you'll see the new main menu looks a lot better.
I'll show it on the stream in a little bit.
Yeah, perfect.
But yeah, it is a definite big improvement. He also managed to combine a bunch of the separate scenes that we had from loading and multiplayer and main menu and all that into one scene. So it's a lot of a more smooth experience and better for
Yep.
the project as a whole. I'll go ahead and show them on the stream the new settings menu and
Yeah,
the
okay.
so on here you can see we simplified the settings menu. There's still a few additional options we want to add. Maybe an extra tab for like advanced or like miscellaneous options. So things like the World Trade Center option where you can change into the new one or the old one, or things like enabling and disabling specific props like trees. I don't know. I want to really optimize the game so where we don't need to do that. But right now it's the menu's a lot more easier to navigate and simplified. So you'll see here, this is the controls tab on the menu. So you can calibrate a controller and assign controllers. This, like he said, you can use steering wheels or PlayStation controllers or Xbox controllers. You can change keys that are mapped. So there's player keys and vehicle keys. So the default key for engine start and stop is E, but I like the classic control, so I leave it on that. You can always go back to the default keys. I may have us do some more options on the sound menu, so things like the master volume, ambient audio, siren audio, air horn, like volume, so people who say, oh, the game is way too loud, they can customize it to their own preference, and I think that will make a lot of people happy. And you know how to close? Oh, here's the button. I got it. All right.
We should show the updated third-person controller. That was something also that.
Yeah, I want to do like just a
that I
little brief
looked at.
gameplay and let people see how everything's
Yeah,
working
perfect.
now. So I'm gonna go ahead and unmute the game, and we'll just drive around a little bit. You guys can see the map. At this point, it's a lot more complete. I don't know if you guys remember, but well, there's a building in the middle of the street over here. I gotta fix that. But a cool thing that I really focused on a lot with the map was getting emissive windows on each building. That means at night, you see night lights in the buildings, and it really gives a good feel, like enriches the environment. I feel like it gives it that city look. Because at night when it's dark, and before it was just dark, there wasn't really any lights coming from buildings and things like that. So there's a few I still have to do, and I apologize if you hear background noise, but I got a puppy, and he likes to chew on things, and I keep him under my desk. Alright, so we got a call. Perfect, it's near Times Square, so I can show you guys the new Times Square area. We'll go ahead and respond as engine 78, because that'll give us a good route through the city. You guys can see a lot of the areas that we've done that are new. A lot of this stuff was really empty back in 0.4.5, which is the version that most of our players are on right now. So we're still working on the asset bundles and streaming, which should allow us to manage our vehicles more efficiently and quickly, so like when you spawn a truck, it doesn't take forever to spawn it in. Let's see. So I forgot to spawn in map props when we started the stream, but it's fine, we don't need them. That's just things like parked cars and some additional details in certain areas. So I'll spawn the driver of engine 78, and we can go ahead.
Ralph, don't forget to talk about the light mapping and all that we're gonna do for the map.
Oh yeah, good idea. Like Donut was saying, light mapping, is something we want to do, which right now every street light and dynamic light that you see is basically processed like all the time. But I think what light mapping does is you bake the light into the scene so that the program or the game's not constantly processing those lights, and it's kind of just like a
Well,
you
it's
explain it
combined
better.
mapping. It will also have static mapping for the static objects, and then dynamic mapping for all the trucks and dynamic lights. But it will be higher quality because it will have dynamic GI and overall better performance because it's less expensive than pixel lighting.
Yep. So he said it better than I could. But that's something. These are all things that will really, really benefit the game and the player, performance-wise. So we're really excited to. It's something we want to get all of this done before we release this update because we feel like before we put out another update, we really want to address the major problems, which are things that you guys tell us. So things like inputs, being able to map your own keys, use controllers, better performance, better loading times, freezing problems, crashing problems. One problem that you guys really had was the camera on the character controller. As you can see, we had Tate redo it, and it came out really nice, so it doesn't like fly around like it used to. It's a lot smoother and more centered on the character. So I'll go ahead and respond to this call over here. One cool trick that I do, what they do in real life, is they turn the rig on from outside. If you click the little red button right there, you can do it from inside the truck or outside, but you can turn the truck on. If I can, there's like something blocking the. Alright, now I just look stupid. Oh, there we go. Something else I was working on was a canvas, UI for the vehicles, so that you can see. It's not synced now because I just turned it on, but when you have the lights on and off and stuff, it'll say it up here. So when the engine's on, it'll be green. So it just shows you a lot more quicker ways to get used to the keys if you're new to the game. There we go, let's see, 40-second. So there's a lot of things we still need to fix before we update. So you might see a lot of bugs and stuff, but also floating buildings is something that we need to go through and fix. So if you see some buildings that are a few inches or feet off the ground, that's something we're going to fix. I'll just turn right here. So one thing I noticed with Tate's new input system is that the steering is a lot quicker. So I want that to be something that we can have like a option in the settings menu for the sensitivity when steering. So I think that's a good option to have for everybody to be able to customize.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're getting into Times Square now. There's a lot of lighting we still need to do, but for the most part, the area is pretty accurate, and it's a lot more complete than in the last update. so while we're here, there's something cool I'd like to show you guys. Two things actually. So one thing that's really annoying in the last update was when you were to respawn your character, they would teleport all the way back to the firehouse. But what we did was we parented the spawn areas for the characters to the actual trucks. So if I were to want to switch to like the nozzle man on this truck, it'll spawn me right next to the truck, which is a lot more convenient. So you can see we've added some camera effects also to the cameras. So there's depth of field, there's a lot of fog options, and just different effects and stuff. So it looks really nice, especially when you're playing it from your screen. You can see the details and stuff. Alright, so I'm going to take you guys down into the subway system that I implemented into the map. So this is something I eventually want to expand all the way throughout the map, so like uptown, downtown, and everything. Right now it's mostly in the area of Midtown and stuff. So there's like 3 or 4 stations. But the thing is, the whole map is, the whole system is modular. So you can easily build different stations through just putting it together like Lego pieces. So here's one of the stations. I want to be able to get rid of the vehicle engine sounds when you're down here, because you can hear it like if it were right next to you. But this is one of the stations. If you guys want to see more of these stations, you can look in the screenshots that we added. But it gives us a lot of room for a lot of different emergencies. And starting next week, we're going to really start focusing on, now that we address some of the big major issues, we're going to start working on being able to handle different emergencies. So like automatic alarms, you'll actually have to go and investigate, check the panel, like see if it holds. We want to have different underground emergencies. We also are working on getting police characters implemented. It's something I had working earlier, but now that we redid the whole character system, I have to set it up again. But police characters and paramedic characters are coming sooner than you think. We have a lot of time and a lot of hands on the project now. So like, as you guys have met, if you haven't met them yet, it's Donut, Karlo, and Tate are 3 new developers on the project. So the project is moving a lot quicker than it was in the last few months. So we're really excited to really start pushing full sail into things like the academy and handling emergencies and things like that. Let me think what else I can show. I'll just drive around the map. We can just look at the nozzle man, not the driver. Oops. Damn, his neck broke. Alright, here we go. I'll actually go show you guys another one of the subway stations. Whoa. School buses, man. So here's another subway entrance over here. This is a block that we've still yet to fill out completely, but there's a subway entrance that goes down there. I want to have one eventually every few blocks. It'd be something cool, a bunch of different subway stations, and it's a lot of things to put together, but you know, we've got all the time in the world to work on this game. So here's another subway entrance. This one's a little different than the last one. It's a little different style. It's a little more classy. Change to the opposite. Whoa. So I'll turn it to day. obviously the lights turn off. See, it looks like it's in the daytime. There's just a smaller station, pretty basic. And the cool thing is they're actually interconnected, the tunnels and stuff, so if you were to walk all the way through the tunnels, you would end up back at that other station. So if I can get out of here. Alright. Is there anything you guys want to add to that you've done or been working on or want to work on?
I think one thing that I'm really excited to see is a completely new user interface. So that kind of goes all throughout the game. You can kind of get a preview of that with the new icons in the top left. So we're going to be renovating the user interface and the text and just making things a little bit easier to navigate. And we're also going to be adding some maybe tips or tutorials or some sort of help system to help new players get started. And those are the two things that that I'm really looking forward to adding. So, anyone else?
I'm really excited to, after finished with all the performance issues, to add some more core game mechanics to it, to the game, where like we could start using like host physics and start using tools into emergencies and having more complex emergencies overall.
Yeah, like I said, that's something we're just going to start really sitting down and working on. There are buildings with interiors that we really want to start with, because right now you kind of just respond to a building that's on fire. You can't go inside. But like right here, there's a building, you know, that we can have fires in. We can have automatic alarms. We can have EMS runs. So this is like a Grand Theft Auto style, like weapons shop or something. But this is one of many interiors so far on the map. But we're also, with a lot of the new buildings that we added, we left room for us to be able to, with a new tool that we got for the project called Pro Builder, it allows us to really be able to just make an interior in a matter of like 20 minutes, like with props and the walls and everything. I haven't sat down to really learn it, but I know it's something I'll be able to, you know, become an expert at and be able to make interiors for buildings. And there's a lot of different ways that we can approach that. But most importantly, I think we should keep in mind performance. So things like when you're not around the building or not near it or in it, you don't really process the interior. Because if we did that for every building where you could be in the interior, then it would be a nightmare.
Oh, well, one of the perks of the new streaming system will be that we won't have to worry about all those kind of issues anymore.
Oh, really?
Where we would have things not having to be processed being processed. That would be already be handled, so we would be able to add much more to the map without having to worry about performance hits.
Yeah, sorry, my PC kind of went out a bit.
You're fine.
So yeah, I agree with Donut. We should concentrate on core mechanics now, and as for the other things, I plan on, as soon as I merge my character system with the rest of the code, I plan to do a bit of work on character shaders and clothing shaders, because I think they can look much better now that city is looking awesome.
Yeah, no, like I'm actually like driving through the city right now because I've worked on it, and you know I'll start the game and test it for a good like 5 minutes before I start doing more work on something because I find something that's broken or needs work. And
yep.
I'm driving around, man, and it feels like I'm actually in New York in some areas. I'm so used to seeing gray blocks everywhere, and emptiness and stuff, and to see buildings everywhere you go, it's pretty awesome. And just like the views, like I really like the environment. Once we add more props and like like trash cans and pedestrians especially, and parked cars, you won't be able to tell the difference. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Yep.
And then the new lighting effects and the depth field, it really complements the game's visuals.
Yeah, great.
Like right now,
It's
what
really-
I'm looking at, it's awesome.
Yep. It's very GTA like kind of feel.
Yeah, it really feels like everybody's like, oh, this game looks like
than that.
GTA, but for me, it's like I don't want to be compared. I want to have like our own style. Even though it's like, we get a lot of our influence from GTA and stuff because that's one of the fathers of all games, but I'd like to take the best parts of the GTA stuff and then combine it with our own ideas and innovation and stuff.
Yep. It's a good benchmark, the GTA level of quality.
Yeah, that's a good place to be. But I don't want to drag out this stream too long. So if you guys want to, ask some questions in the chat, me and the other guys will start looking at it. We can answer some of your questions. But I do want to read through all these comments later. Yeah, so shout out to Tommy Burke, one of my personal friends from New York. He made a new banner for Ladder 66, which I think looks pretty nice. So I'll show you guys that real quick. Come here. So you'll see it right. Let me pull it out.
John the Heavy wants to know, does this game work on Macs? Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does. It could work better, and that's something we're working on, but it is Mac compatible. So this is the new Ladder 66 banner, courtesy of Tommy Burke. Trying to get a good lighting on it. Any other questions you guys see? You can read them out so I can answer if you don't know what to say. I'm just kind of showing.
Yeah,
the
I'm just
gameplay and
scrolling
stuff.
through it right now.
Green Butter is asking if we're gonna implement the vehicles roll over when we turn a corner too fast. Well, I guess we could, but
Like,
not a
like
priority, I think.
I think what I always wanted to do was like if you crash your truck, instead of like going all in depth about like simulating, deformed meshes and fire and smoke and all that, I think it'd be smart to just disable that player's vehicle for like 10 seconds as a penalty or something, depending on the intensity of the impact. You could just disable the vehicle, so that gives the players, they don't want to be the last one to arrive at a fire or something, so they're going to be more careful when it comes to driving, because they don't want to lose 10 seconds, I think that's a better way to approach it, but
I think the system that we're using for cars right now actually has some deformed, like you can.
it does. It's
use
really
it,
buggy, and like when you hit something.
Yeah, it's not
It's-
really good, but
Yeah.
I saw a couple of people ask about the hospital. They wanted to see that. I don't know if we can show that now or.
So the hospital is like, it's a building model. It's not really a hospital, but I feel like it could pass for a hospital. And I want to give it some textures and some signs and stuff that label it as the hospital. But it's in a good area. It's right next to It's on the west side, next to Times Square. This is the building I'm gonna convert into a hospital. I think right now it's just like a hotel or something, but I think it could pass. I'd like to have like an emergency room or something in the first floor that you could go in and stuff. But you know, we have a lot of expectations and things we want to do. The good thing about this game is one, I don't know if it will ever fully be done, because the way that I do things, I'm always like adding things or wanting to change or switch things up. So the game will be at a really playable state, you know, like soon and eventually, where everything is there, all the features that we promised. But I feel like I'm always going to have that modder mentality where I want to always change things or add things, and I'm going to have that for a while. So even when the game is done, I'm still going to be going and changing up the trucks and adding new vehicles or things like that, you know. So the one thing I like about this game is that it's always going to be you know, a constant work in progress. But I do see a lot of things I need to fix now that I'm spending time in the game, but nothing like serious. Any other questions that you guys see?
So G-Unit 2214 is asking when we will be able to actually extinguish fires. Well,
like we said, that's something we're going to
like
start. Yeah, we're going to start this week, this coming week, tomorrow basically. We're going to sit down and see how we want to do that and approach it. We'll probably start with smaller things, like smaller emergencies, like the automatic alarms are really simple. One thing I can also show you guys is we're redoing how the whole ladder system works. So if I were the driver of ladder 66, I wouldn't control the outriggers and stuff from inside. I'd walk to the back of the truck and I would press G, and we still have to work on this camera, but then I can put the outriggers from here, because the panel for the outrigger controls is in the back of the truck, so it's a little bit more realism. And then you would go to this ladder and climb it to the turntable, and then you would be able to control the ladder from there. But that's something we're still working on. We wanted to get a lot of the other things out of the way, the big bugs, and now this week is when we really have the time to focus on the character controller and interacting with vehicles and emergencies and things like that. But we might start with things like automatic alarms, just being able to reset the alarm, and then also like investigate. So if you try to reset an alarm but there's fire somewhere, the alarm won't reset properly. Also things like car accidents, that's something we want to go in depth in, so extrication and EMS calls, it's all stuff we're going to get to, but you know, it's on the list, but it's not like the top of the list. We wanted to get the game to a stable state, and I think we're there now, especially after the last 2 weeks that we've been working. We've been putting a lot of time into the smaller things, which eventually add up into a big update. So that's all I really have to show right now. I'm going to look at some questions.
I saw one by Express Air Canada. He wants to know if cameras will be able to stop when they collide with a building, and I would say the answer to that is yes. That is something that we're aware of, and you know, we'll be adding that soon. I can't say when, but it is definitely something on the list.
So the camera actually already has those options. The problem is that our buildings, we haven't put physics on them yet, for one reason really, just performance-wise. We want to find a better way to... So like I think if we're like in this general area, only the buildings near us should have the mesh colliders enabled or something. I don't know, something simple like that. But once we do that, then the camera should be working the way that you guys want it to.
I was actually gonna look into that collider thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stuff.
That, like,
all the things that our fan base and like our player base like think about, there's like a 90% chance that we already have thought about it and are gonna do it. So, you know, you guys think of your perfect emergency game, and we're probably 10 steps ahead of you. So, well, I am at least. These guys don't know anything about the fire department. All right, so we'll answer like 3 more questions and we'll call it. But I think this was a good stream to show everybody where we're at right now. Will the AI be optimized? Of course. Traffic is something we want to really like spend time on. It's not a super priority right now, but we want to change how the AI reacts to an emergency vehicle instead of just like kamikazing into the sidewalk. And then also in multiplayer, we have a lot of work to do on the optimization of traffic because it lags a lot of the players. Overall optimization in multiplayer is a priority of ours.
So G Money is asking why doesn't Firehouse doors work? Well,
they do. You gotta right click the door.
Yeah, we had problem with one doors, but that's fixed in the last update, I think. So.
Yeah.
Actually, it might never be like it was maybe only in development version that problem. So Delson27 is asking, will there be multiple animations available for different tasks depending on who you are? Probably yes, eventually, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's all stuff that we've shown somewhat in the academy and stuff that we spent a long time developing with our previous developers, but it got to a point where it was so expensive and we weren't making enough progress that I had to cut ties with those guys because they were charging me nearly like 3 times as much as you guys charge per hour, and they were doing a lot of work, but it wasn't efficient. I feel like we do a lot of work and it's just like efficient because we're taking care of important things, but it was just a lot of stuff, especially when the rig and the animations were as messed up as they were. So we lost a lot of time and money on that, but there's all this stuff that we still have from that, like animations and coding for interactions like K-12 saws and Halligans forcing doors, things like that. So this week is when we're really starting to like sit down and look at that stuff. You guys probably saw the hose physics preview I put last week.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah, so that's something we really want to just be able to implement into the third-person scene. So we'll.
So Matt,
what's up?
Matt Hoax is asking, do we plan on expanding map in the future? Well, Raf loves doing the map, so I would guess yeah.
Expanding, it really, honestly, it depends on, because me, like, I believe in this game more than anybody, because, like, I've been with this for almost 3 or 4, I've had the idea for, like, 5 or 6 years, but, like, now, this year, I've really been able to see the success of it, and if it's, like, I feel like once it's done, and we have, like, a full game, and it's not on early access anymore, that the game is going to, like, really, that's when it's really going to explode, because even if you're not into this type of game or this genre, this is an open world game that gives you a whole different style of gameplay that you haven't really had before. You have, like, games like Grand Theft Auto where you can blow shit up and be a criminal, but in this game it's, like, the complete opposite. And Grand Theft Auto, for one, shows that there's a market for that. There's a market for a police game or a role-play game like this. So I felt like now was the right time to hit that on the head. So if the game is really, really blown up and, like, successful in a big player base and we have thousands of players, then yeah, I'll spend time, like, maybe making another borough or things like that. What I do want to do is have this map and the Fire Academy on the same map. So there's probably, like, a little bridge right here that you cross over to this little island that has the Fire Academy, because that's how it is in real life. The Fire Academy is on an island right off the between Manhattan and Brooklyn and Queens. So that would be cool. But expanding, like, this actual like mass of land, I really doubt it. Because if you've been following this game for a while, you've seen the first map concept, which was literally like not even a quarter of this. It was probably just this little area right here inside of this square. It was tiny. And like at that point back then, that was more than enough for me to be able to handle. I couldn't even imagine filling that up completely. And one day I was like, you know what? Like if this is going to be a good game, it's got to have a bigger map. So I spent time and I made like a concept for the Manhattan, the whole Manhattan. And it came out really nice, and this is exactly how it turned out and exactly how I wanted it to turn out. So expanding, no, I don't think so. Oh, so one other thing that me and or Donut have been talking about is AI for the for the emergency vehicles. We want to take a big portion of one of my favorite games, which is Emergency 4. So like the RTS style gameplay where you're, let's say I'm in 66 truck or whatever. Oh, we're also adding a button so that you can return your truck to the firehouse, just like I did right now. It'll work better, but let's say I'm 66 truck and I zoom out and I want to go be somebody else, but I still want my units that I need to respond. We could have something like the dispatch system automatically take care of the extra units, or you'll be able to select the truck like you would in Emergency 4, like a real-time strategy unit, and be able to right-click where you want it to go, and we'll have the pathfinding for all of that. So these are all things that we are planning to do. It's just these are all complicated things. So as you can see, we're working our asses off, and we're getting things done. It might not be in the order that our players want, but it's in the order that's best for the game. So that's enough questions. I don't want to drag out the stream too long, but this will be archived. Sorry, archived on my channel, so you can watch it whenever. And I want to thank everybody who watched the stream. We made it to 130 people. Not bad. And I'd like to do more streams like this with everybody, with Tate and Karlo and Donut, because it gives me more of a chance to get our ideas out and what we're doing, instead of just me talking about what I made this person do or what this person did and blah blah. But I think this is one of our best streams for sure. So I want to thank those three guys for coming and helping me out, and everybody who's watching for watching and being patient and supporting the game. And we're working our asses off to get this update out to you guys. We just want to make sure it's
thanks everyone.
Yeah, we just want to make sure it's in the best state, because we don't want to have worked this long and then put out an update that's not working or complete trash. So yeah, but thanks everybody for watching, and I will keep everybody updated on a possible release for the update. I'm aiming for this weekend, or at least before this weekend, because I'm going to Miami this weekend to see the Real Madrid versus FC Barcelona soccer game. It's the first time in history they've ever played in the United States, so that's like the biggest soccer game in history, basically. So I'm going to go watch that in Miami with my brother, and then I'll be back before the week starts. And if we don't have it done by this weekend, then we'll get it done, hopefully, before the next weekend. Alright, I'm going to end the stream, and thanks everybody for coming.